a roll call when we come to that, and instead of the roll call, we'll substitute in the Pledge of Allegiance. So with that being said, we will call the meeting to order. Tonight is Monday, April 13th, 2020. This is the regular City Council meeting for the City of St. Peter. It is 7:13 p.m. The first thing we will do, if all will join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all very much. Next up, we have the agenda. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to take a look at the agenda. Are there any changes or corrections to the agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Ed will second it.
Okay, Steve 1, Ed 2. All in favor of the agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Agenda is approved. Next, we have the minutes from our March 23rd, 2020 meeting. Those minutes appear on pages 5 through 7. Are there any corrections, changes to those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Noel moves.
Prue Flatwell second.
All right. All in favor of the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose? Those minutes are approved. Next, we have the minutes for our March 30th, 2020 special meeting. Those minutes appear on pages 8 and 9. Are there any changes to those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Carrie Johnson so moves.
Ed seconds.
All right. All in favor of the minutes as written for the March 30th meeting, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Those minutes are approved. Next up, we have the visitors. Is there anyone joining us tonight that would like to speak to the council on any agenda item? Hearing from no one, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the council on any matter whatsoever? Hearing no one, we will move to the consent agenda. The consent agenda begins in detail on page 10, and I had it here, but just a second. Concludes with the resolution. Let's see. Do you have an extra secretary or anybody there, Todd, that you can send out to my house?
With board advance notice, we can do that, and a pizza.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little lost without having Barb right next to me. So, anyway, the agenda begins in detail on page 10 and concludes with the resolution on pages 39 and 40, and includes the following budgeted purchases in excess of $10,000 to R&E Enterprises for street milling for North 3rd Street from Scarrow to Livermore, and it's a not-to-exceed number of $12,500. To M&N Construction for swimming pool chemical house roof replacement for $12,690. To ESS Brothers and Sons for 3 SAFL baffles for $19,900. To Musco Lighting for a light structure for Vet Memorial Park soccer rink for $17,500. Following license applications, a temporary on-sale liquor license to Nicollet County Pheasants Forever for 400 Union for September 12th, 2020. We have 4 tree worker licenses, all for the dates of 5/1/2020 to 4/30/2021, to L&E Tree Service, to Jim's Construction and Repair, to Tree Tech of Mankato, and Construction and Tree Service. We have the following regular employee appointment at a new wage approval to Melinda Meyer for Office Services Supervisor for $31.84 an hour. There is a list of 23 seasonal and temporary seasonal appointments in different areas, most of them parks and stormwater, plus the regular schedule of disbursements for March 19th, 2020 through April 8th, 2020. We will go around and ask if there's any questions on the consent agenda, questions or comments, and tonight we will start with Steve.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Are we able to get a complete, or at what point will we have a complete list of all the tree workers that are licensed by the city so that we could answer questions about who are licensed by the city?
So if you would like a complete list, we can sure provide one to you. However, as you know, they do not all have to apply at that same time. And so the list is changing on a regular basis. As you may recall, in previous years, we've had upwards of 10, 12, 13 different licensed tree workers, and so that changes. So my suggestion would be is that certainly we can provide that to members. However, if you have a question from a constituent or a citizen, it's probably best to direct them to the community development office, or if it's on the weekend, it is available through the police department, because on occasion we get checks and we maintain that on our server, so that's potentially available to folks.
All right, thank you, Todd.
Todd?
Yes.
Emily, questions?
Hold on a second, Chuck, if we can. Barb, you had an additional piece of information. Do we maintain it on our website?
Yes, it is, and it's updated every time a new license is issued.
All right,
Thanks, Barb.
thanks, Barb.
Okay, all right. Emily, questions, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On page 12 of the packet, I just was wondering, this question's probably for Pete, why were the DSDs disabled in the first place? I was just curious when I was reading through that.
The downstream defenders, which were originally installed in 2009 with the Minnesota Avenue project, some of them failed over a period of time, some during the warranty period, some after the warranty period. Most of those were related to design issues. And so we're trying to find an alternate that'll serve the purpose for us.
And I assume then that the new design is maybe going to be a better, higher quality that will last a bit longer this time?
A little different quality of material and a little different installation.
Okay, that was one question. And then I was curious also then, Pete, about the two jobs, the mechanic and the plumber, how those jobs were advertised and an applicant process, and then how were the wages decided?
So let me jump in on that one. Those jobs were not advertised. They have been a temporary position for 2 seasons. And so we have experienced and licensed folks that work part-time for us. And so we've hired them on a temporary basis. The wage was determined and is frankly substantially lower than they might garner in the marketplace, but we compensate for that with flexibility within the timeline that they work, hours of the day, days of the week, etc. This is a slight 3% increase from where they were last season. Our plan for next year is to have a complete job description and work the system in that way like you might normally see. But these both started out frankly as experimental positions in trying to provide some assistance to our mechanic. As some may recall, especially on the mechanic standpoint, this has been a substantial benefit to MRVT to have somebody that does the tire changes and the oil changes and those type of things, so that type of work can be done much more cost effectively here at the city rather than shipping it out to a dealership or someone else to do some of those routine maintenance type jobs.
Excellent. Thank you. No further questions.
On those two that you asked about, Emily, both of them, I think Todd maybe and Pete maybe know more. Both of them, I think, at 30 plus experience working at a car garage and as a plumber. I know they had like for $14.85 an hour. We're getting a deal. Anyway, the next up, Brad. Do you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
All right. Ed?
I have no questions.
All right. Shannon?
My questions were answered. Thank you.
All right. Carrie?
Yes, I have two questions. And my first question might answer a later question on the agenda, but are we seeing, as in the case of the SAFL baffle, I'm not just asking this question because I wanted to say that, the light in the light structure system, are we seeing typically less responses or less proposals to our RFPs because of this pandemic, or is that the case sometimes where we may only receive one response?
Let me jump in first and then I'll let Pete respond specifically in this area. Some of these products, although the cost is relatively high to us in the scheme of construction and other things that they have the opportunity to respond to proposals on or provide bids on, these are very, very, very small projects. And so that sometimes has an impact, but it is very hit and miss. I don't know that there is a lot of predictability in who responds when and how. And it has to do with type of contractor, type of projects, season, but I don't believe any of these are related to COVID-19. Pete, I don't know if you have any additional comment.
No, that's pretty good, Todd. They're really specialty projects and a lot of them are retrofit. So you're kind of locked into very few distributors that can handle a product for you.
Thank you. And then on the disbursements list, I saw that the micro loan payments were listed there. Does that mean that checks have been sent out for all of those businesses and checks are in hand then? Is that what that would mean?
Yes, that's accurate. And under my reports, I'll provide an update as to the numbers of each of those applications and checks that have been put out or will be put out into people's hands by Wednesday. But a majority of checks have already gone out.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you all for your questions. I have one, Pete. I know what a baffle is, but what's a SAFL?
So I have the answer for this one. I'm very proud to say.
Right.
Yes. So SAFL stands for St. Anthony Falls Laboratory, which is related to the University of Minnesota, and it's really at St. Anthony Falls, at the bottom of St. Anthony Falls, and that's where they do lots of studies relative to water, hydrodynamics, turbidity, all kinds of things from the University of Minnesota. And so the reason this product is called a SAFL baffle is because it was developed as a part of a project, a 4-year study with the University of Minnesota at St. Anthony Falls Laboratory. That's SAFL.
Oh, interesting. All
It
right.
is. It's
Thank
really
you.
great story.
All right. Once again, the resolution for the consent agenda appears on pages 39 and 40. Is there a motion for approval?
Bruflat will move to approve.
Noel seconds.
All right. If anybody has any more questions at this point. All right. Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Bruflat.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Mayor Zeman.
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson. Councilmember Ed Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Noel.
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Grams.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. Next up, we have unfinished business, which there is none. We will move to new business. And the first thing up is the St. Peter Veterans Memorial Playground Improvements Bid Award. Todd.
Mayor and members, Pete is here to describe this one, and information is included in your packet starting on page 41, so I'll turn it over to Pete. Pete, if you would.
Mayor Zeman and City Council, as you guys are aware, last fall or last year, you guys took action to allow us to purchase a playground structure that would be used at Veterans Memorial Park. Just to the west of the swimming pool is where we're planning to install this equipment. Our landscape architect, Damon Farber, put together formal written proposals so that we could go out, and specifications so we could go out and get bids for that. We did receive one bid from a local contractor who would work with us on pricing for this unit. And we're requesting on the resolution on page 42 that you authorize Nielsen Blacktopping and Concrete out of Kasota to complete the work for $71,426. It would be our intention that we will work with this contractor to try to still control additional cost. Contractor has been open to that discussion. We would try to do some additional dirt work there. Our overall goal would be to reduce this total cost by about $10,000 yet. Funding would come from the parks budget in the capital area. And as we mentioned in the approvals here and in the resolution, we'll be just a little bit over budget, but we'll certainly take steps to try to control those funds. There's a resolution on page 42, and I'm asking that you award the bid.
All right. Todd, anything to add before we ask for questions?
No, sir, I think Pete covered it. It is our responsibility to help manage budget, and I think Pete has a plan to be able to do that. And within the contracting law, we have the ability to provide for change orders that not only increase, but at times decrease the cost. And so, as Pete articulated, some of our labor might be used to reduce that contract cost and help us meet the budget that was set.
Okay, we'll go around for questions. We'll start with Emily.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of questions. First, I guess I'm just trying to visualize this project as far as the blacktop and then the equipment. Will the playground equipment then be going on top of this blacktop area?
There won't be any blacktop in the area. There'll be some concrete curbing that's in there. Nielsen Blacktopping is the contractor. So the surface that we're putting in there, the curbing and the improvements in the area there would be completed by Nielsen. That includes some seating that would be on Kasota stone or some Kasota rock. There would be some drainage through that area that would be improved. And it would also be some flat concrete work that would be adjacent to the sidewalk there, so people could transition easily from the sidewalk that's there right into the play structure.
Great, thank you. And that answers my next question. So no further questions. Thanks.
Okay, Pete, I'm going to ask though, Emily raised a point. In your memo, it says earthwork, concrete, curbing, and paving. So what is that paving then?
Well, the paving is actually the flat work.
Cement flat.
The concrete.
Oh, okay, all right.
Use a better word.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Questions, Brad?
I don't have any questions.
All right. Ed?
I have no questions. I've seen some of the designs when I was on the park board, so.
Okay. Shannon?
No questions, thank you.
Carrie?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
And Steve?
No questions, Mayor.
All right. Excuse me, the resolution awarding bid for the Veterans Memorial Park Playground Improvement Project appears on page 42. Is there a motion for approval?
Carrie Johnson, so moves.
DeVos second.
Carrie one. I thought I heard a second there somewhere.
DeVos. DeVos is
Brad
second.
two. All right. Yep. Any other questions? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Grams,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Next up, we have the 2020 North 3rd Street improvements from Scarrow to Livermore. Todd? Pete?
Mayor and members, this is a project that's funded primarily through stormwater funds, and Pete, this is done on a regular basis, and so Pete, I'll turn it over to you from there.
Sure. Mayor Zeman and City Council, we're asking tonight that you authorize Nielsen Concrete LLC out of Kasota, the same group that's doing the playground work here, to complete some work for us here on the North 3rd Street project. The total amount that we're asking for today is $275,093. That's rounded up just a little bit. Scope of work would include sidewalk improvements, curb and gutter improvements along this stretch, along with storm sewer upsizing in the area between Livermore and Swift Street. During the review of the process, our design engineer identified that we have a block of storm sewer that's undersized and has been prone to cause us a little bit of issues related to the intersections upstream of where this improvement would be completed. City staff has gone out and talked to the homeowners, and we have signed waivers that we can amount to about $41,970. We are also using the streets budget, the money that's allocated by the city council for these improvements, as you can see, plus the sidewalk fund that would improve areas on Locust Street and Elm Street. So we've added some additional work outside the street reconstruction into this project in order to get better concrete beds. The scope of this work would entail that we authorize the base bid plus the alternate. We did bid the storm sewer as the alternate project, so that if it was too high of a price, we could pull that work out or accomplish it in some other form or fashion. As you can see from the engineer's estimate, we were about $20,000 over the engineer's estimate, which is about 10%, a little under 10%, but yet we feel the project is worthwhile, that the bids are good, and that we'd like to move forward. And so based on this formal bid opening that we completed, we're asking that the City Council approve the resolution on page 51, and I would be available to answer any questions you may have.
All right, then we'll start questions with Brad.
Yeah, Pete, I just have a quick question on, I guess, advertising for bids, because this is the second project that it appears the only bidder is Nielsen Blacktopping.
Yes.
Or, well, I guess concrete. What kind of advertising is done just to solicit bids for these projects?
For a project like this, and Todd can jump in, we do the formal bidding process where we advertise on our website, in the local paper, and then usually what we do is contact several of our potential contractors in order to try to get bids.
Okay, thank you.
To add to that, I know we've had bids in years past where they were limited people bidding, and they were, from what our engineers thought, were so out of bounds that we delayed, and for a year or whatever, to go get more bids because we thought they were, for whatever reason, exorbitant, being the conditions or whatever the situation was. So we do take a look at that. If they would have been the only bidder and way out of line, we probably would have rejected that, I'm guessing. Pete, can you add to that, or Todd?
Yes,
That's
Mr.
correct.
Mayor, you are right. You do have a policy related to what are used as quotes, what are proposals, and what are bids, and you follow not only the state law, but the policy that you have. And so we meet all of those requirements, and I do agree. There is some variability within bidding environments when people can start. This is a project that has a relatively short time frame. And so it does depend on when contractors are available. And frankly, prior to a month ago or so, the marketplace seemed to be a challenge for folks like us that are looking to have projects done, because many of the contractors were booked up. Now that marketplace may be changing because they do have other projects that are being canceled, other things that are going on, but we believe this is an appropriate bid for the scope of work that's necessary.
Okay. Back to questions. Ed?
I have none.
Shannon?
I was curious about the stormwater aspect of this and how this may or may not play into future plans that we had talked about over in the Shopko area.
Yeah, I can comment on that, Todd. This watershed area that we're improving right here does not impact that area at all. That's in a different watershed.
Thank you. That was
Anything
my
else,
only-
Shannon?
Nope, that was
All
my
right.
only question. Thanks, Pete.
All right. Carrie?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Steve?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Emily?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, I have one for you here, Pete, and Todd, probably Pete. When were these bids opened? Or bid opened?
I believe they were opened a week ago Wednesday.
Okay. Because we keep hearing, like what we just kind of talked about, that, some of these contractors are probably out looking for work. So I was just wondering if that had anything to do, or could have potentially, if we would have sent it out again or waited on the COVID thing, with other people being available. I know Nielsen has done a good job for us in the past, but I'm just kind of wondering how that all plays into this, if at all. So that was my point of question.
We'd love to have 5 people bidding on it, but it just depends on the
Right.
time for us to bid too.
Yep, I understand. All right. Any more questions? All right. The resolution for the 2020 North 3rd Street improvement appears on page 51. Is there a motion for approval?
Ed will make a motion to approve.
Steve Graham, second, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Any more questions at this point? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Mayor Zeman,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Grams,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Next up, we have a 2020 ag land lease. Todd.
Mayor and members, I'll turn the floor over to your city attorney, who over the last number of years has worked on this issue for you. So Jim, if you would.
Better? It helps, I guess it helps to turn the mic on. This is a triangle piece, about 11, 13 acres that lies south of Broadway. Back in 2013, the city had an opportunity to buy this tract from the Lampert estate, and for a parkland. We bought 60 acres. We developed the park on the north side of Broadway with the school in conjunction. The school passed a bond issue in 15, built their school on that side. For the first couple of years, Mr. Angstead leased the entire tract. Reason for that was he was leasing next door, and he turned out a good job. This will be his 7th year, if the council approves it, that he's leased this tract. In the last 7 years, we haven't had a problem with him. He comes in, he does a good job. keeps the area down and neat. So the price he's paying is comparable with rents. He hasn't asked to reduce rents. In the last couple of years, with farm prices down, a number of tenants have gone back to landlords and sought to have a reduction in rent, and Mr. Anthony's continued, Mr. Annexstead has continued to pay the same rate. I think it's a fair rate given the sandy soil, and I'd recommend that council approve it. The contract's basically the same as it's been in past years. Stand for any questions.
Okay. Questions, Ed? I'll ask again.
I
Ed,
have
any
none.
questions? All right.
Got to find the microphone on my phone.
There you go. Shannon?
No questions, thank you.
Carrie?
No questions.
Steve?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Emily?
I have no questions, thank you.
Brad?
No questions, thank you.
All right. Yeah, these guys are, Brent and his dad and family are very good farmers, very thoughtful as to what their practices are. So it's been, been a good deal for us through the years. The resolution authorizing execution of a one-year lease of Outlot A of the Magner Farm second subdivision between the city and Brett Annexstead appears on page 57. Is there a motion for approval?
Noel
Ed will
moved.
make a motion to approve.
Noel second.
Ed Johnson 1, Shannon 2. All right. Any other questions at this point? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Grams,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman.
Aye. Resolution is approved. Next up, we have a tree worker license application, and this one, Todd, I know is you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is an application from Doug Peterson doing business as Spot Cleaning Service for a tree worker's license. As we discussed earlier, this list changes on a regular basis. Renewals come to you as a part of consent agenda. New license requests come as a separate agenda item, and this is a new license request. We found nothing in the background check that would prohibit Mr. Peterson or On the Spot Cleaning from having a license. The resolution for this is included in your packet on page 59.
Questions? We'll start with Shannon.
No questions, thank you.
Carrie?
No questions.
Steve?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Emily?
No questions.
Brad?
I'll keep it going, no questions.
All right. And Ed?
No questions.
All right. If there are no questions, is there a motion? Did I do that already? No, I didn't. Is there a motion to approve the resolution for the tree worker license that appears on page 59?
Carrie Johnson, so moves.
Bruflat will second.
Any questions at this time? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Grams,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. That concludes our new business. Next up, we have reports. The only thing I have to say is not a lot, because there isn't a lot happening besides listening to state and federal authorities as to what to do and how to do it, and hopefully we'll get through this all together in a short amount of time. With that, we'll turn it over to Todd.
Mr. Mayor, let me do a couple of quick reports. I won't go down an extensive COVID-19 report as I did last time, but you should be aware, Mayor and members, that my goal is by Wednesday to send you more of a checklist that we can follow through together and use that as a process that we go through every time a COVID report comes out. So want to make sure that you are aware of that. We do also want to mention that the hazardous material appliance paper shredding pickup that was scheduled for, well, later this week has been canceled. We have a number of people that are setting out appliances on the curb, and so we've started providing notice that that is not allowed under your nuisance ordinance. And so we will continue to work with Tri-County to establish a future date for those activities to occur, but so far that has not been established yet. So if you know somebody who has a washer, a dryer, or an old refrigerator sitting out on the curb, that really isn't allowed and it's dangerous, and so they need to take that back. And if they have questions about what else they can do with those appliances, please give us a call and we'll be happy to provide them information as it becomes available on what to do with those appliances. From a strictly COVID perspective, certainly lots of activity going on. Public Works crews have modified schedules to provide for additional social distancing and time distancing, where not all the crews have lunch or breaks all at the same time. So I think that's working. The one change that we have in place for today, tomorrow, and Wednesday is that although City Hall is closed to the public, the Finance Department is open. That's an experiment that we're trying. Sally and her team put up some barriers to assist in providing some screenage as folks come into the office, and we're really experimenting with how that works. But since today and Tuesday and Wednesday are days where we see lots of utility payments and lots of utility payments in cash, this is a way to accommodate those customers, even though we continue to encourage money orders, paying with your credit card, dropping off at the drop box. There are a number of different options. Automatic transfer, we've seen a very strong increase in folks that are using automatic transfer to pay their utility bills. So that's one of the changes that we have just in this short time period. Whether we do that next month on the 13th, 14th, and 15th is yet to be decided. Again, this is an experiment that we're trying to assist some of your customers in making payment. All your full-time employees continue to go. We don't have anyone that's been substantially impacted personally from an employee standpoint, and so they're absent due to COVID. And so we're very lucky in that respect. And so some of the social distancing things that people are using as a part of work or as a part of their home practice, I think has been beneficial to us. We continue to try and work to keep some of your part-timers, whether they're from the library or from MRVT, working with other opportunities that are offered. Some have chosen to participate and some haven't, and that's okay. We want to continue to try and pay them and provide paychecks for the hours that they've worked previously if there is work available and if they're interested. So we continue to do that. We continue to see some folks work from home on occasion following the policy that's been established by my office, and so I think that's working just fine. We have not had substantial supply chain issues except those that you might be experiencing in your household. It's hard to get disinfecting wipes, it's hard to get hand sanitizer. Some of those things have been a challenge, and we can continue to be challenged with that, as are a lot of households. So we'll continue to work on that. But other than that, I think we're in great shape. I will mention that Building and Community Development is doing the mail for us, where before mail would go to Gustavus for posting. Now we're doing that internally, and so that takes a little bit of time, but that's been working out just fine. We have modified cleaning protocols in some of the buildings to enhance those, and in transit buses, so that you're aware and folks are aware. And Transit continues to run its regular schedule, and we did get contact and potentially will be helping deliver additional meals beyond the Meals on Wheels that we're doing now. So we'll see how that pans out over the next few days or to a week. I do want to mention the other activities that you have going on. Boards and commissions are meeting on a basis where if there's action, they are meeting on a GoToMeeting platform, just like you're using tonight. But if they don't have action, those meetings are being postponed or canceled, and we're working to make sure that at least some level of reporting goes out to the members of those boards and commissions. On that note, I do want to mention that we do have a city-county meeting scheduled for April 15th, so Wednesday at 10:30. So Councilmember Grams and Councilmember Kerry Johnson are involved in that. So hopefully you received the notice, and that'll be on the GoTo platform as well. Mayor, that's really all I have for COVID-19, other than moving to the microloan program, if that's okay with you.
You go ahead.
All right, on the microloan program, and we did have one of the council members ask earlier, right now, as of this afternoon, we had 32 loan applications, and by Wednesday, we will put out 25 checks. So there are about 5 that are waiting, or maybe they have not exactly been printed yet, but we've scheduled with the local business, to sign the documentation and give them a check. And we've been trying to keep on a regimen. I believe that is Wednesday and Friday. Sally, is that right? We've been doing those on Wednesday and Friday, I believe. Those checks have been cut and provided to businesses.
Yes, we're working Wednesday and Friday. We've got about 4 or 5 that are ready to go for Wednesday as they come in.
So approximately 20 or 21 have gone out already and are in the hands of local businesses. And those checks have ranged anywhere from $3,300, $1,200 to the maximum of $10,000. So far of those 32 applications, the potential amount of money that you have from your EDA loan portfolio is about $278,000 potentially, if all 32 of those go out at the numbers that are estimated. So that's really, I think, a great help to a number of the businesses. So we wanted, and I'll continue to provide an update on that as well. I don't know, Mr. Mayor, if you or any of the council members have any other questions about that one.
Okay, well, we'll go around again. We'll go around again and let everybody have a chance.
Mayor, members, that's really all.
Anything else, Todd?
No, that's really all the reports that I have for you tonight, but I would stand for questions if anyone has any additional questions that they'd like to put out.
Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll go around for questions, and then at the same time, if you have any other comments or things you would like to share after your questions or anytime during that, we'll do that at the same time. And we'll start with Kerry.
No questions, no comments, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Todd, I just have 2 questions relative to the microloan program. I noticed that I know this is more of a procedural thing, but why is the fund called the Tornado EDA Fund?
Well, because the money that was originally put in that fund was state money that we received after the tornado to assist businesses at that time. And so this is money that was loaned out at that time and has now been paid back that we can re-loan out. So that's what the name of the fund was originally called and why it was called that.
Does it matter that it's still identified as such?
I don't know that it matters that it is that title. If it is the pleasure of the council, we can take action, or maybe I'd have to really look this up. Maybe the EDA could take action to rename that fund. But frankly, from my chair, I think it's a great opportunity to remember how we received those dollars and see those dollars circulate and know where they originally came from.
All right. And Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question that's not relative to the microloan, or would you rather have me wait?
No, you go ahead. We're going around the last time here now, Steve, so whatever you have.
All right. I did not have a chance to watch in on the April 5th public meeting relative to 169 and 22. I started listening to it this afternoon, and I didn't finish it all, but I just wanted to hear from those that attended how it went.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, I'll jump in and then ask Pete to jump in. And then if council members want to jump in after that, I think we had very good turnout. I don't remember the maximum number that showed up on that GoTo meeting, but it was in the mid-30s, I believe. And I thought it was a very good discussion. And certainly the presentation by Forrest Hasty and the team at DOT was very good. There were questions that were submitted as a part of the chat, and I think all but maybe 1 or 2 of those were answered. There was a question about a fatality that DOT is still looking for the data, but I thought as good as can work in this kind of platform, that worked out very well. I don't know, Pete, if you have any additional comments?
You covered it well, Todd. Forrest did a nice job of engaging the citizens and really good attendance, more than I thought would be there.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Steve?
The only thing, yeah, on the link that's provided there it's only an audio. There's no visual, which is fine with me. But thank you very much.
All right. Emily?
No further comments tonight. Thanks.
Okay. Brad?
Todd and Pete, this is more of a looking forward thing. Looking at this summer and as far as pool hiring, when would you make a decision as far as if we were to not, which at this point, I don't project actually opening the pool this summer on current conditions, but what's the timeline for a decision-making process on that?
So the goal has been that Pete's team needs to make sure that the pool is ready should we open at the usual time, which is usually during that early first week in June. And so they are on course to do that, I believe. I'll let Pete comment about that. Hiring is done through the recreation department. And so that process has started. It is not finalized yet, but I would anticipate that hiring will come to the city council at your next council meeting. So you'll see a list just like Public Works was tonight at that next council meeting for pool staff and for rec staff. Whether we go or not is still under discussion. We're gonna try and actually hold out as long as we can, as long as Pete's team and they're again on track to make it ready. We'll wait until the end as close as we can to make that call. Joey has worked on a number of different timeline scenarios for how that fits together, but that pool is really important, not only to us as a community, and not only to young people and families within the community, but frankly to the kids that work there. And so we want to keep going. We have the ability to be on a different timeline than Minneapolis or other larger communities have been on. And so we're going to try and use that to its maximum benefit for us. Pete, if you have any comments about readiness?
Sure. Yeah, our goal is to have that pool within 2 weeks of opening up. So we're going to work and continue to work right now all the way up to May 15th. And we can put that on hold and retain that position well into the summer so that if we do get staffing and council decides, even if it opens 30 days late, that within 2 weeks of deciding that, we can be ready to roll.
Mayor and members, if I can, from a financial perspective, and this is a very callous way to look at this, but every day that the pool isn't open saves you money. That said, it is a great value to the community. And from my perspective, even if we're open for a month, it's maybe worth that month to be open from a community perspective, especially trying to find some normalcy within our community, going back to, you know, what we're used to. There's a lot of not just swimming, but I think emotional and community value in that as well.
And yeah, my opinion wasn't looking at it from a finance perspective. It was looking at it from a health perspective, is whether it would be prudent to do it or not. And that's why I was asking is what you're looking at from a timeline there as to from a decision making. Now, my kid, we use the pool a lot, and my kids love it. So it's just a matter of decisions that we have to make this year as far as when we would do that. So you're at least right now you're planning on going into May on it and essentially play it by ear from that point.
Yeah, I think that's right, Councilmember DeVos. We will certainly continue to follow the recommendations of the Minnesota Department of Health. And as you may or may not know, we are licensed by Nicollet Brown County Health as a part of that too. And so we'll listen and follow their recommendations as well. But if there is the opportunity to open, it's my belief that we should be ready and try and open when we can.
Todd, when do we usually open?
Well, usually it's that first week of June. It hovers around June 1st to June 3rd. And it's lots of times, frankly, been driven by the school calendar, which may or may not be an issue this year.
Right. Right. So, you know, we're still looking at April and May. So, you know, we still got 8 weeks here to see what transpires. So, Brad, did you have any other questions?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
All right. Ed?
The first question I had was about the pool, and that got answered. My second question is for Barbara, if she's still with us.
Yep, I'm
She's
here.
there.
Barb, on the GoToMeeting website or the computer screen that I got up here, it still says that we're waiting for Barb Luker. What did I do wrong?
Emily can weigh in on that. I first logged into one of our previous meetings from the end of March because it was saved in a tab and it said the same thing. And then I realized I was in the wrong meeting and then got into this one.
No, I punched in the numbers that were on to this meeting. So
Well, then
And if I
could be operator error.
We'll take a look at it tomorrow and see what we can find here.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, Ed?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, Shannon?
I have no further questions. Thank you.
All right. With that, the only thing I had to add, and I don't know what everybody else experienced yesterday during Easter, actually, but yesterday afternoon, looked outside and I had a kind of a, I guess I would call it a Pavlovian reaction. When it started snowing, I started putting up one of our Christmas trees. So anyway, with that being said, is there a motion to adjourn?
Ed makes a motion to adjourn.
Devos seconds.
Okay, I heard Ed 1, Steve 2. All in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.